The Hayling Billy, yeah, everyone used the Hayling Billy if you went off the island, yeah. From my point of view, is we used it more after the war because we lived in Havant for a while when we were first married, and my wife used to come over and meet me because I worked on the island.
We used to be 3 or 4 friends. We always went in a little crowd, and even the station master used to give us a lecture before we got on the train how to behave ourselves.
Do you remember what he said?
I can't remember. I think it was to do with stopping us if we did not behave. We wouldn't be allowed on the trains again because he knows who we are.
Before I met Dave, I've lived in Havant area all my life. My family have as well. And when we left school, we used to go over to Hayling on the train every opportunity, every lovely sunny day. And because I always remember the beach was very, very much more sandy than it is now.
But no, it was, I needed the train a lot. So of course, when it was stopped, the train, we had a car by then.
Yes.
So we weren't dependent on the train, which was a good thing. But no, in the early days, we needed that train.
Yeah. Billy didn't go very fast.
I mean, you could stand on the track and jump out the way, shouldn't you?
Billy used to go
like
very slowly. I used to even play around there. And we used to have dare, well, you'd have a group of kids and we'd go over to the railway line and then they would dare you to wait until the train was at a certain point before you jumped off the railway line. But that is a terrible thing to do because it's just luck of the draw if you fell and hurt yourself and couldn't get up again. I dream about it sometimes and think how awful that was.
I think you may have interviewed my old school friend Monica, and their house was in Havant, and between the 2 gates there was the main gate, which is still there for the London-Brighton line, and then the Hayling Billy line used to run alongside it where the track is now, obviously, and there was 2 sets of gates, so sometimes you go through the Hayling Billy gate, you could get trapped between 2 gates. And you'd have to wait for the London train before you could get out, you know. So, and our house was right by the railway line, and during the summer holidays I used to go and stay overnight with them, and the rattle of that house when the trains used to go through, and I always remember they used to sit in a long couch watching TV, and they were all watching that Coronation Street, and the train would go through and I'd be jumped like this, you know, and they'd just be sitting there. They didn't even know the train had gone through, you know, they got so used to it, yeah.
From the age of 5 I lived in a railway cottage in Havant, in New Lane in Havant, which has now been pulled down, and my father worked on the railway, and occasionally he would drive the Hayling Billy.
Well, this picture is of Monica Couch's mum and dad's cottage. Her dad was the train driver, and this cottage was between the 2 railway gates in Havant. The one railway gate is still there now, the other one is gone because the line's gone.
But in the meanwhile, we would always be on the train to Hayling Island because we used to get special rates through him. So we would go off on the train, and then there was thousands, hundreds of people wanted to get on this train, so you had to squeeze in or wait for the next train and so on, and then we would go. And then you'd get off at the other end and there's Staunton Avenue. And at 6 years of age, this is the longest avenue, in the world, and you thought you were never ever going to get to this beach, so you were worn out by the time you got there. And then you'd have a lovely day, and then back you come and wait to get on this train, and off you'd go home.
They only really had one compartment, 1 or 2. In the summer, of course, they had more.
Yes.
for people
brought
coming in on the
holidaymakers.
island. Yeah, because they used to get off at the station and walk down Staunton Avenue to the beach.
Yeah, well, in the summer it was a wonderful sight because holiday makers used to, this was part of their holiday, to come on to Hayling on the Puffing Billy. And as the train came into Hayling station, there used to be all the arms hanging out of the windows. They were at a seaside, and then they were quite happy to walk through Staunton Avenue, or up Staunton Avenue. And there they were, and they would be at the beach. They had they used to love to arrive. That was part of their holiday, to arrive on the Puffing Billy.
Well, the busiest time was obviously the summer, especially a Saturday and a Sunday, because everybody was off and they would all get on that train. And there used to be queues on Havant Station waiting for the train. And then, but it did run less often in the winter, as far as I know, it was less often.
Thousands of people used to come down on that train and for the day trips and walk down the Staunton Avenue, which was unmade road. I can see them now, thousands of people walking down with their kids. And then the beach was beautiful sandy beach with loads of sand dunes from Beachlands all the way to the ferry.
The train was packed, always packed. Obviously in the summer it was hot.
Hanging out the window.
Yeah, and we weren't supposed to hang out the windows, but because we always did, especially when it went over the bridge, which is quite fabulous going over the bridge because it was quite high, like on sort of like stilts really. And I don't think there's anything left of it now. I think it's nearly all gone. So.
But then one day we were there, and it was my neighbour's children and my sister and that. We used to get on there, and then we thought, we want a carriage to ourselves. We're fed up with being squeezed in by everybody. So we all stood in the window and all filled up the window, all of us, so we looked like we were made to stand in the carriage. And then as the train left the station, we had a whole carriage to ourselves.
Marvellous.
And we found this worked, so we did this quite a lot, which was, now I feel quite ashamed.
This fantastic photograph is of the Hayling Billy train going over the railway bridge at Langston really, and it shows you how tall the supports were to the bridge, and you can also see the old pylon there, and there was a signal box on the bridge, and the pylon was removed not that long ago. Actually, it was an article in the Hayling Islander. They moved it finally, and that was where we used to stick our heads out the window as we went over the bridge and hear it rumbling over the wooden tracks, etc., and look at the sea below. It was always quite a fantastic sight.
Do you remember how much it cost?
It was so cheap. It's under a shilling, but I can't remember the exact amount.
This is another one of Dad's pride and joys, the Hayling Billy train at Langston railway gates. Cars waiting patiently to go through the railway gates. That used to be another source of traffic jams for miles.
And the only good thing that I thought about the railways, because I never really used it, was on a Sunday. I used to catch the bus in Menjum, and the traffic was so slow where just couldn't get off the island because of, holiday traffic and that. I used to get off again and walk through Cherrywood Gardens to the station, hop on the train, 10 minutes, Havant. Yeah.
If you ever wanted to go to Havant, which is about as far as you used to go, Havant and Portsmouth, about as far as you used to go in those days, we'd always go by train. It was cheap and it was easy and it was quick, and loads of kids used to use it to go to college off the island.
I was going to say, I think a lot of the children used to use it to go to school.
You see, it ran right alongside of Warblington School. There's a halt at Warblington.
Churches College and places like that.
They all used to use it.
Of course, the Portsmouth schools.
Yeah. So it was used a lot for schools, and not just for holiday purposes. It was used for goods, wasn't it? They brought goods over first thing in the morning, I think. But yeah, I mean there was traffic more on the island, but not like there is now. Really.
As you say, where they said, I think it's the old story. Yes, they missed it, but there again, they didn't use it.
No, I would say local people didn't use it as much
Once
as
the
people.
car had taken over.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Everything used to come on the island through the train. Pretty well everything, because the old bridge was so weak that they couldn't carry much tonnage over it.
The new road, you
New
see,
bridge.
alongside of the rail bridge was the old road bridge, and that was also crumbling. And we used to have to get off the bus and walk across that road bridge because it was unsafe. Yeah, no, that is. I mean, it's a shame that it's not there anymore. It would have been a lovely tourist attraction, but I believe the bridge was the dangerous part. It was falling into disrepair, and it was going to cost a lot of money to refurbish it. So,
Well, I don't think really it worried a lot of people. I think people weren't using it on the island so much because cars were getting, you know.
this is the last train from Hayling, the Hayling Billy. Belongs to my dad, who's a train enthusiast. He loves all steam trains, and he's loaned this, and we'll have this on display in the theatre arcade during the Hayling Billy exhibition.
I can remember more about it when we were told it was going to close, because we were all so disappointed. We used to use the Hayling Billy as an adventure, getting on the train going into Havant on our own. It used to be great fun.
Well, I think Beecham made a big mistake closing railways generally, because all the freight used to go by rail, and they had all these goods yards, didn't they, and all the stations. Now you get massive lorries rumbling up and down through our roads. So the railways are a really good system, isn't it?
I think it was a shock, you know, of having it taken away.
Nobody wanted it to close.
Did they have any celebrations on the last day or anything?
Not really, just a lot of people, you know, we all stood out in our gardens. I mean, we were in New Lane in Havant, so the two railway cottages are still there, the other side of the main line. And then you had the main line gates, and then you had the Hayling Billy gates, and our cottage was in the middle of the two, so we got sandwiched, which wasn't clever when you were late for work, but there you go. And we all went out and we would watch it. A lot of people went and watched it go, you know.
When it came, before it was totally closed, and we knew it was closing, we made sure that our two children had a ride on it, and they had the last ride before it was to be closed. They had that last ride, and they often talk about it, the last ride on the Billy.
Well, lots of trains to catch, but soon there will be none. I'll have to buy a bike, 'cause I can't afford a car. Oh, Dr. Beeching, what a naughty man you are.